G'day to the first ever show of SA Wine Weekly. I'm your host, Nathan Goad, and with me today we've got some amazing guests from the McLaren Vale region. We have got Brad.
Evening, everyone. Evening.
And we've also got Anna.
G'day, everyone.
So what we're going to do today is we're just going to run personalities behind the wine. So I guess my first question is, and I'll put it to Brad, is Zonte's Footstep. Tell the punters that know nothing about it where it originated from.
Sure.
And just give us something that even the people that do drink it regularly don't know about you.
Well, I guess Zonte's Footstep was given birth in 2003. We produced wines first out of Langhorne Creek with the vineyard that we had down in the creek, focusing on Shiraz Viognier and Viognier. There was 13 of us at the beginning of the winery. When we did it, we thought we were all a bunch of know-it-alls, got together because we thought we were unemployable and got angry not doing what we wanted to do. And guess what? We've learned from that day forth that we don't really know a lot, and we just keep learning. That's part of the ethos of the brand that we've taken on board now, is that we learn something new every day. We experiment, we listen with 2 ears, and we speak with one mouth. So yeah.
Excellent. So tell us something right now that a seasoned Zonte's veteran wouldn't know about the winery.
Oh,
not to put you on the spot or anything, but
not to put it on the spot. Seasoned veteran that drinks our wines. We're about to launch a whole range of product in cans. There's something that we haven't talked about on a public venue before. Now we're committed to doing it. And we're talking lots of them, too.
So we're talking the industry first, then, are we?
No.
Nobody else knows about this in the industry?
Yeah, that would be fair.
Pretty much
It's been an in-house conversation.
Yep.
In fact, I didn't even know he was going to tell you just then.
And tell us about what you do within the winery.
So I guess the way we like to think of it is that Brad is our winemaker, and all things that make the beautiful stuff that we're going to taste today, and I do everything else. So with a great, fantastic team, I run the business and run the marketing, and love it.
How many people have we got working at Zonte's at the moment?
We did a little head count the other day. Head count 13, I think we're up to now. So yeah,
Baker's dozen.
Really good.
Excellent. And do you want to shout out to any of the people who've helped put tonight's show together?
Sure. Alice, Lauren,
Kendi?
may as well Kendi. May as well say hi to Belle and Bella and Roy and
Adam, Marty,
Peter, and I'm going to forget someone,
Laurie.
Mandy and Laurie, and may as well say Matt. Yeah, look, there's
Roy.
lots of us. There they all are.
Bella. That's us. Yep, there's the team.
And where are you here?
That's at the General. That's our home in McLaren Vale.
Okay,
Some people call it cellar door, but there's no cellars there, so it's just the door.
A little bit more than a cellar door, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a wine bar. It's a meeting place where you can come in, you can enjoy our wine. We talk about our ethos. Gabe, who's our food evangelist, cooks different bits and bobs. He's very much an Asian-influenced foodie, so lots of different things that way. We also have a good friend who has a mobile pizza company, so we have stand-up pizzas basically once a month, live music, local brewery on tap. It's our home away from home.
Excellent. And what's happening with it at the moment? Obviously with COVID and most things are...
Not a lot, unfortunately. But we are doing a little bit of a reno. So for those people that have been in the General, we have made some fairly major changes in the interior, and we're actually really excited about the next phase of this in terms of bringing it really into the heart of what Zonte's is all about.
So Zonte's has always been pretty progressive. What have you been doing during these COVID crisis? What have you been doing to get the brand name out there? People can't come to the cellar door. What have you been doing that's different?
Well, my favourite one, which you guys know well and truly about, is our online hosted events. So where we've actually got 2 booked in 2 weeks. I'm so excited. where basically they get to, Brad and I host through Zoom, and they can order 2 bottles of wine, and yeah, it's going to be great fun. I'm really excited.
So if we've got anyone watching live, then feel free to ask some comments. You can ask comments about the winery, about the wines that we're going to taste in a minute, the food that we're eating, and ask why you've got a winemaker live. Why not ask them the questions that you've always wanted to know? And if you want to throw something curly out there, you can ask Anna whatever you like as well. So I think that I'm getting a bit parched, so
Let's do it.
let's do it.
Beautiful.
So tell us a bit about the first one that we're going to taste tonight, Brad.
This is not red.
Right.
So Excalibur's actually our Adelaide Hill Sauv Blanc. We've been producing this for 12 vintages. As I said at the beginning, we started off with Shiraz, Viognier, and Viognier, and over that, what we've always done is we look to what market trends are, what global trends are going on, what new varieties we've had access within our growing regions. And when the New Zealand Savalanche hit Australia in the mid-2000s and basically dominated the market, I just wanted to get on my soapbox and showcase what a wonderful product that we can produce from the Adelaide Hills. It's not New Zealand Sauv Blanc, so this is what it is.
Love the label.
Thank
Sorry
you.
to cut you off straight away, but
No.
I love the label.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about who designed the label and the relabeling wasn't that much. Right, let's have a taste. So tell me what I should be looking for. So I noticed Brad, being the winemaker's doing the swirl.
I swirl water.
Whoops, I just spit one.
That's all right. That's
That's
why
all right.
we're winemakers
It's all
white.
right. You
Right.
went zoomed in at that stage.
I'll just put it
Nathan,
down,
you're
I'll put
fine.
it down. Okay, why are we swirling it?
Easy. Look, this is part of the chemistry. When you look at wine, molecules, anything, when you actually swirl it, you're actually causing them to collide. It warms the wine up. It creates the release of the aromatics. That's basically it. You're just swirling it, and it looks cool when you look on the TV set.
So it looks cool that that's
Yeah.
why we're doing it.
There
Yeah,
you go.
basically.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. So that wasn't just
Yeah.
wine wank while we're doing it.
No,
No.
but a particularly good little challenge that if you really are into the, really special is most of us have a dominant hand that we'll swirl with. So
Do it
you
with
can
your
try
opposite.
now swap hands and try and do it with the other hand, and I actually really struggle with that.
I've got to put it
Go
down.
on, no, you
I
can't put it
can't,
down.
I'm going to spill
You
it.
got to
There you
actually
go.
hold it up. So that's the challenge, Nathan. By the end of tonight.
So I noticed you had a massive sniff of it before you actually tasted it.
Yeah. I mean, like anything, you smell it first. If it smells good, you put it in your mouth. If you actually, if it smells like tropical fruit and it smells like
All I can
grapefruit,
smell is passion fruit.
there you go. Perfect. One of the
Is
key
that right,
characteristics.
or-
There's
Yeah?
no
Ding,
wrong
ding,
answer.
ding. Perfect. It's one of those characteristics of Sauvignon Blanc that's stainless steel fermented.
And you said Adelaide Hills? The vineyards
Absolutely.
in the Adelaide Hills?
As far north of the Adelaide Hills as you can get. It's right on the cusp of the, so you can actually hop over the fence of the vineyard and you're up as close to the Barossa as you can bloody get.
And vines have been there for a fair while, or?
Planted in 1980, so some of the
1980.
oldest Sauvignon Blanc vines planted, but age doesn't always mean better. It just means that there's a pedigree, and obviously the fruit sells year in, year out. Since they started, we've been using this fruit for almost 8 years from this vineyard.
Looks really clear.
There's no barrel contact on this wine at all. It's 100% stainless steel fermented.
Right, and that has a effect on the colour, obviously.
Well, oak will actually add color. Obviously, if it's toasted, Sauvignon Blanc itself is a very light-skinned grape variety, and we don't leave it on skin contact for very long. So you're not going to get a lot of color extraction. Very light hue, very bright brilliance to it. When you look through it, you get a little bit of a green hue to the edge. That shows its freshness. all these little key indicators that you look at it when you're really looking at wine. But at the end of the day, you know, you want to look at it. If it's brown or oxidized, that's a telltale that it might not be in its best state of drinking. Number two, you smell it. If it smells like crap, it's most probably going to taste like crap, so don't put it in your mouth.
So we're smelling, we're looking for fruit.
Yeah, and what you smell is what you should taste. Like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't actually smell one thing and taste something different.
Yeah, it's very easy to drink. Could be even a little bit on the dangerous side, I think. It's that easy to drink.
That's one of our principles of winemaking. It should actually drink a glass of wine.
Now I'm feeling a little peckish,
Oh, well,
and we have an ethos at Zonte's, which is
always share food and wine with friends. So
Right.
how about we actually just order up some chicken and chips?
we're going to do a COVID strategy.
Okay.
We're going to ring someone
Yep.
Right.
because we can't go to the restaurant at the
Can we
moment.
get a chicken large chips, please? Yep. Cool. Perfect.
Bang, bang.
Dinner should be here soon.
Ah,
Ah, look at that! It's like it was prepared earlier.
Perfect.
magic alive TV.
There you go. And there's, I guess, one thing with us too is it's all not fancy schmancy. You know, at the end of the day, wine is a food product. It should be shared with friends and loved ones at the table with food. It's the benefit that we reap from our day. So simple things with simple minds. Cook chook. If it was a hot day right now, we'd be drinking fresh oysters from across the bay and a bunch of Spencer Gulf prawns, but it's cold, so we're going to have a bit of cook chook.
Right, I was expecting to cheese platter or some
Nah.
quince paste or
Nah, too busy making wine.
too busy making wine.
Yep, so we got a bit of a cook chook, and thankfully, they also know that I'm not allowed to touch knives, so it's all cut up.
Right,
Let's dig in.
so I thought it was a wine show, but it's all
No, it's
turned
become a
into a
feature.
bit of a feature.
Well, unfortunately, look, we've got a comment. Is there any truth to only pairing white with chicken and fish and red with red meat?
What's your opinion?
My answer to that is no. Wine can be drunk with everything and anything, and we may prove that when we get to the chocolate factory.
Exactly.
Right. So it is a myth that white meat, white wine, red meat, red wine? Or is there some truth to it?
It's a historical thing. So if you look at where a lot of white wine came from, those foods that we actually think traditionally to have with them would have been the local cuisines that they would have had with those anyhow. You know what I mean? When you look at Sauvignon Blanc, it comes from the Loire Valley. They used to eat lots of smelly cheeses and shellfish. You know, it's the home of when you actually cook chicken in oil. What's it called? Come on, Nathan, you're not helping me out
I'm
there.
not the foodie.
Anything.
Who's the
Come on,
foodie?
comment.
Come on. What's
Yeah.
it called? Yeah,
Simple
someone help
thing
us
is-
out.
What is the thing with chicken and oil?
Yeah.
Chicken.
Yeah.
What is it?
Southern fried chicken.
Southern
Yeah.
fried chicken. Sounds
The
like
big
American.
thing with Sauvignon Blanc, thus the label, like Excalibur, it comes because we have acid line. We want it rapier sharp, and that's the length that we look for on it. That acid in that wine is there to cut through the fat. So fatty chicken, you know, goose, any kind of meat like that, it's just there to help cleanse your palate. This has got lots of fresh herb in the stuffing, herb. You know, there's chicken salt.
I'm gonna have
Go
some.
for it. Just eat.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Sauvignon Blanc's there to help cleanse your palate, and it's a refresher. It helps acidulate your palate and get you going.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued to see if it tastes any different.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that you know, as a non-winemaker, I really love that concept of when you drink wine, it does change the whole experience when you have it with food. So, you know, we always talk about, you know, make sure you taste the wine first before you actually put food in your mouth, and
Yeah.
then so you've got a feeling for what that tastes like, and then, you know, put the food in your mouth, have a mouthful, and, you know, and then swirl a bit of wine in there with it, so that you can actually get that real experience of the two things working together. So it's and James Lyons, congratulations, you've won the Excalibur. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Fantastic. Winner, winner, chicken dinner,
One
as
com-
it said.
One comment wins a bottle of wine.
One comment wins a bottle of wine.
Ah,
Love it.
he would be loving it.
And it's personal preferences. One of the things I love too, since moving to Australia in '95, really good fresh bright Grenache, served chilled in the summer with chili prawns. Absolutely a ripper.
What?
Love it.
Grenache
Absolutely great
served
mash.
chilled.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hang on, I forgot something too. You moved here in
95,
from
Canada.
right.
So I'm still at large. I haven't actually been kicked out of here yet, and I'm happily a quasi-Aussie.
Yeah, you threw me with chicken and chips for white wine, but Yeah, it actually works.
It works.
Absolutely. There's no
And
rhyme or reason.
it's a lot better than eating cheese.
No, it's good.
Cheese is good, but it doesn't always go with wine.
No, and people do make the mistake of getting an expensive bottle of wine whilst they're out and they're eating a beautiful meal, think that's the best bottle of wine they've ever had. They go buy it from the bottle shop without eating the beautiful meal, drink it, and it doesn't taste anything like it.
Totally. The experience that you share with people, the food, the timing. I mean, over the years, I've had a chance to, I love Adam with the Chocolate Factory. I've had a chance to taste our wines in many different countries all over the world, and they all have a different taste sensation. The way it tastes here today versus Toronto when it's in the middle of winter, or a hot day in Hong Kong, they all have a different experience. Even though you tend to advise people to drink white wine chilled. Sometimes we drink it too cold in this country. I tend to drink everything at cellar temperature, like it is right now. As you cool it down too, that's where the flavors dissipate. You don't taste as much.
Totally different taste with the oily, fatty chicken.
It brings out more of that herbal base to it. To me, there's that fresh herb, some thyme, tarragon characteristics, a bit of licorice.
Still
That's
in
good.
food.
No, it's good.
There
But
go.
you
Course
have
I'm
no-
not.
I might hang on to
Oh,
it.
you're hanging
No,
on to
you-
yours. All right,
you
you
don't
hang
do
on to
that.
yours.
Jerry, no, Jerry.
They're
It's
stealing our
sharesies,
food.
but it's all good.
We're gonna
The one
throw
thing
it-
you have noticed, it's all about courses.
Yeah, we've got courses.
Horses for
We're doing
horses.
courses.
Yeah, we
Excellent.
like that.
Courses by one.
Well,
Beautiful.
What are we moving on to?
yeah, we've had a taste. We've had something to eat. Jimmy's won a bottle.
Do you
Perfect.
So
want to go,
I-
Canto so far. Can we go? Are we going Canto first?
Yeah, let's go Canto.
Canto.
Yeah,
Song.
Canto.
All right.
Song.
Our Italian blend.
So,
So let's start there. Let's tell the punters about Canto. It might not be a variety that everybody knows.
No,
Or is it a popular variety?
No, Sangiovese's known, as is Lagrein and as was Barbera. So Canto for us has always been about the blending of Italian varieties. So we've had, historically we used to do Sangiovese Barbera, we've had Sangiovese Barbera Lagrein. This particular vintage is, which is a 2017, is our Sangiovese Lagrein. And so for us, this has always been a wine that's about blending together to create a beautiful Mediterranean wine that's going to go with pasta and pizza.
absolutely.
So once again, amazing label. Something different and full. So everybody can see, full of medals.
Bling. We can tell
We've got
you we
lots of
make good
bling.
wine.
Do they actually mean anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The medals, they do.
It's a real interesting one. I mean, there's a lot of wine shows around the world, and you can, as a wine brand, make the decision not to invest in them, not to enter in wine shows. But we believe that it's really important to allow people to have the knowledge of three third-party support. So for us, it's about getting other people to review our wine and say it's really good.
Is it unusual to have a full ring of them though, like that?
Well, that cost us a lot of money.
Yeah. So it was bribery, was it? Right.
Wine shows are independently judged for a quality parameter, and what it does is it shows that if we can consistently get gold medals in multiple shows, then our standard is higher. And it's something that we want to do because a consumer doesn't have to spend energy looking at it. If it has one or two gold medals on it, then you know. If it wins one, it's like you and I. You and I can win a race any day as long as everyone else falls over first. You know what I mean?
Could you pass me a paper towel? I just spilled.
It would want to be Stephen Bradbury, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's
For
most of
me
the
to
ones
win
I
the race, but
Canto's always been about that expression of Italy. Every Italian red grape variety has this sense of place, this real savory sort of secondary character in their red grape varieties, and they're absolutely fantastic with food. And if you've never even tasted an Italian wine, you taste this, and immediately you get this link between Italy and these grapes. So for me, it's always been making what Anna said, just a great blend. And that's where the name Canto comes through. It's like a three-piece quintet coming together to make the perfect song. And it's balanced and drinkable and food-friendly.
have Italian wines been popular in Australia? Or is it something that's evolved recently? Or like, I wouldn't, most people, Shiraz, Cab, Merlot,
Yeah, Sangiovese
Pinot.
was first brought into the country in '78 by Montrose, and from there, the Lloyd family really in McLaren Vale pioneered Sangiovese as a variety. It's one of the very first alternate grape varieties, if we have to talk alternate, that came into Australia, but it does have a strong foothold now, Italian grape varieties over the other Mediterranean countries. But for me, what we really focus on in these Mediterranean varieties and blends that we produce is about the fact that most of those wines that come from around the Mediterranean are much more food friendly. They're made in a style that are lighter, that are, they marry with food and they acidulate and they give you that ratatouille moment. You know, when the rat gives a little bit of herb on the toasted cheese. Yeah.
So definitely,
Spanish.
definitely for eating. And what would we put together with it?
Well, I think
Well,
we should.
we're talking
I think,
Italian.
I think we should do another COVID moment and ring for a pizza.
What? Pizza.
Fine.
All right.
All right. Adam, hey,
Any plan? Anna, well, he's on the phone already.
Yeah.
That's a pizza.
can we get a pizza?
any plans
no
for a
no
Spanish
anchovy,
variety?
but basically fully
Well,
loaded. We
funny you
just
should
want the
say
whole
that.
garden.
I didn't know Adam.
We actually, I know
Perfect,
I can
thanks.
see that Adam put that question.
Cool. Jesus, that was fast.
That was the fastest pizza delivery you've ever seen in your life.
Ah.
Well, the answer to that is, Adam, we actually do make a Spanish variety,
Two.
and
Yeah. Well, with the last name of Rey, which is Spanish for king, we've always
he reminds
Anna.
us regularly.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, it
Really.
is. We do McLaren Vale Grenache, but we do it in a style that's very much in that Spanish-esque light, warm climate Pinot. You know, less oak. It's more bright acid structure. You can actually serve it slightly chilled. Our Blackberry Patch, which is labeled Cabernet, is a Cab Tempranillo, which is a spin on the wine blends that you get from the Navarra region of Spain. And last year we launched 4 organic wines, and we actually make a straight Tempranillo in that. And we also do a rosé in that range, unlike our Scarlet Ladybird, which is in our core range of rosés that we started in 2004. We actually do one there that's Portuguese in style. So it's very dark red and bone dry. Like it'll actually suck the moisture out of your mouth. So a different style than what we actually do with the Scarlet Ladybird, which is much more Provence-ish in style and suits sort of more Thai, Asian influenced foods. So there you go. So yes, Spain, Portugal's the next
Absolutely.
one to target.
Yeah. I do like to keep reminding Brad occasionally that every time he gets into one of these little things of creating more wines, that there is a cost associated with it. So
Right.
that's the accountant in me. I can't help myself.
Structure,
So it's
chaos.
the accountant versus the winemaker.
Yes.
Yes.
Regularly.
Yes, we will make that. No, we can't afford
Yeah,
to.
correct.
But who wins?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, very often Brad does, but
Thanks, Madeline.
then he also has to promise me that he's going to sell it, so it's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what I picked up from there was light Pinot. Pinot being one of my favourite varieties of wine because it's what we learnt to drink wine on.
Sure.
And I still really like it, and I like a lighter style wine. We are very spoiled. McLaren Vale, we've got all the strong Shirazes you could hope for, and then down the southeast, obviously the Cab Savs as well. But a lighter style wine, does it go better with food?
Well, have some and
Have
see.
some pizza and
Right.
try it.
Put it in
Tell
your
us what you
mouth.
think.
Put it in your gob.
Okay.
The big thing, so Sangiovese, which is the primary grape variety that Chianti produces, that would be the number one sort of atypical wine that you would get out of Italy would be a Chianti Classico. Sangiovese is that grape variety that goes through with it, and that's that choke cherry, that cherry precept that you were comparing to like Pinot Noir. It has plums to it and things like that. Lagrein is actually from northern Italy. It's a grape variety that's the birth between Pinot Noir and Shiraz. So
Right.
again, there's a link to what you just sort of described in the underlying tones. And that adds a little bit more flesh to this than the style that we used to produce with the Barbera. But yeah, in your mouth, a bit more drawing tannins, a little bit more of that cedary sort of drawing tannin base to it. What happens though when you have it with the food?
Disappears.
Yeah?
Smooth, easy to drink. People who struggle to drink wine or haven't got a palate yet, it would be great for them.
Yep.
I think that if they don't like a really strong Shiraz and they prefer something lighter than this with a pizza, I don't think you can go wrong.
No.
Not that anything doesn't really get.
Or bolognese. Anything tomato
Pasta,
based.
pizza,
Tomato based.
anything
Yeah.
Italian.
Perfect.
Italian.
Yep.
The other thing, I guess.
So, where do the grapes come from?
Oh, so this one we use.
Obviously not Italy.
No, we actually use Fleurieu on our labels as a geographical indication, and Fleurieu includes McLaren Vale, Langhorne Creek, and the Adelaide Hills because that's where the majority of our fruit grows.
Yep.
Specifically, though, our Mediterranean grape varieties they grow down along the Fleurieu and Langhorne Creek. So Gula Mouth, the Sangiovese, the Lagrein, our Vermentino, and our Prosecco all grow down in that area because it's southern exposure towards the Antarctic.
Yep.
Cool, dry, and it doesn't get the same sort of late afternoon sun exposure. So it really suits these grape varieties.
Excellent. Well, it surprised me.
Winner. Adam.
Oh,
You just won a bottle
nice.
of Canto.
I think he would really appreciate it. He's quite fond of a pizza, I heard too. So he might go all right. Ah, here we go.
We'll let Anna say how long
Luke.
she decants for.
Luke's jumped on board with Gone AWOL Tours. By the way, love what you guys are doing. How long would you be decanting for? Well, as terrible as this may sound, most of these wines we drink straight out of the bottle. Decanting it's a process of aeration of the wine to bring out flavours, and it works incredibly well, particularly with more aged wines.
Yeah.
Because you're really trying to, the wines may have been in bottle for a number of years, and what you want to do is make sure you bring back some of that fruitiness and freshness into it. In the case of the wines that we're drinking tonight, they're all 2017, 2018, so they're really still quite young, and are they're designed for drinking. The reality is that's why cans is going to work really well for us.
Yeah. Right. Keep the
So-
comments coming.
Yeah, keep the comments coming. They're great, and thanks very much for that. I've got another question on decanting. Okay, so
Go for
you're saying these wines are to drink now. Will they sell it?
Yeah.
So if I put this in my cellar for 5 years, I would then decanter it?
Again, if you were kept in a room,
Is it a myth?
no,
No, it's a genuine
perfect thing with coronavirus. If you're locked up in a room for 14 days, and then we open the door and let you out,
Yeah.
you're going to go crazy. Same thing with a wine. If it's sitting there for 5 years, not touched, not moved, it's going to be a bit slow out of the gates, and then when it opens up, it's going to open up. So your benefit from actually opening a wine that's been sitting around for quite a bit of time. The benefit for us under screw cap with 5 years, you start to get that sort of bottle evolution that you get under cork within about 12 to 15 months. But like I said to you earlier when we were talking, for us, we look at ourselves as farmers. You don't age your carrots, you don't age your potatoes. It's a choice. What we do with our price point is make wines that are drinkable, that over-deliver at price point that you can enjoy right away. And if you can curb your appetite from opening them, then let them go. We opened up wines 15 years old just in July. And yeah, wonderful bottle evolution to them that we could see in it. And then Marty, our assistant winemaker, and myself opened up another bottle of 2009 against the current vintage 17s that we were bottling, and we actually screwed them up. So,
Right.
the amount of variation that you get under screw cap isn't as great as what you get when you're actually looking at cork.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, more red
really,
wine.
No, actually, I've been waiting for Canto. That's my favourite.
I was
That's
wait-
okay.
I was
You guys
waiting.
can move to the Shiraz.
I was waiting for the pizza.
The pizza's good.
Pizza's good.
So, here's the thing.
Chocolate factory.
Yeah.
Tell me the history and story behind the chocolate factory.
Okay, there's no chocolate in it.
It's
Was-
a true story. There's
True,
no
true
chocolate.
story.
There's no
Everyone
chocolate
asked
in
us,
there.
is there chocolate in Chocolate Factory?
No chocolate.
But you taste chocolate when you drink it, though, don't you?
The big thing, I guess the reason that we came up with that name is in McLaren Vale, unlike the Barossa Valley or Langhorne Creek, we were always taught that the McLaren Vale produces the middle palate of Australian Shiraz. It's long, soft milk chocolate tannins. Whereas with the Barossa Valley, the Langhorne Creek, they tend to be more dark chocolate tannins. So when you eat those chocolates, you can feel those textures. So it's not really a flavor sensation. That chocolate character that you get in some of the wines is actually the oak influence on the grape variety. So when you put toasted oak with Shiraz, one of the flavor precepts is actually a bit of chocolate.
Do you want to do the fancy? Oh, I've got my watch on. Can't
Righty
do it.
tighty, lefty,
No, no, but
lefty loosey. You're going to do this, aren't you? You're going to do this.
I wanted
There you go. Watch out.
to talk about the
This is the
label.
other reason
Right,
I wear
ready?
white. Yeah,
It works better if you've got a bare arm because it grabs grip, right? But
yeah. This is my mind storm. There you go. It's all about
Well,
Shiraz.
Everyone wants the-
that,
everyone
was,
wants-
that was amazing. That was,
Golf
that
clap.
was-
Everyone golf clap.
everyone wants the. Everyone says, "Oh, you can't get the romance out of a screw cap." So we decided we'd
Nothing like putting a bottle
we'd go with
between your legs.
performance instead.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chocolate Factory just comes from that. That to us, the McLaren Vale is that middle palate, generous, fruit-driven, milk chocolate, textured.
And where do the grapes come from?
All over the
All
McLaren
over
Vale.
Vale.
Yeah, yeah. We have
So you,
4 main
hang on.
growers.
All over the McLaren Vale,
Yes.
not one single block.
No. Nope.
So, and grape varieties differ from like McLaren Vale is not McLaren Vale.
If you want to, when you look at the, I'll use sense of place. The French use the term terroir.
Right.
So sense of place, the relationship between the grape variety, the soil, and the soil type that it grows in, and its sense of place, which is sunlight, heat, diurnal period, rainfall, all these other aspects play on the flavor precept. For us, as the chefs or the artisans, it's the subregions. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to turn McLaren Vale
No.
into subregions because that's something that we utilize. Consumers still need to learn that we exist. Honestly, in Australia, great. They understand McLaren Vale. When we get off the world, people just still don't understand how vast this country is. If you look at Selleck's Hill versus down at Blewett Springs is this little pocket of sand. It stays warmer at night because it doesn't actually get the gully winds. So the fruit has a different flavor profile due to that. The Golden Mile of McMurtry Road has that milk chocolate development up towards the top of Seaview Heights. When it ripens, the vineyards that we use up there is a real coffee bean, sort of cocoa character. Down towards Wollonga Hill, you get more briary and interesting tones that come through. What kind of bear arm? Grizzly, black? That's a very Canadian question. I like that. Never grizzly. It'll eat you. I'll go a brown bear or cinnamon. Cinnamon.
Cinnamon bear.
Yeah. So yeah.
He's already won a prize.
So
Yeah,
we
we
actually
can't have another
Jimmy.
there's 4 different growers that we have in 4 different subregions, I guess. And then those are the components that we use to ensure that we get the sense of place of the overall growing region or the geographical area of McLaren Vale.
Excellent. Now come on.
Yeah.
The chocolate's been sitting
So
there.
again, what are we having with this?
What-
Everyone
yeah.
goes, we're actually having chocolate fondue. I thought, what the hell? Let's go for it. Everyone wants to have, and there's, again, people think that you have to have dessert wines with dessert. You don't have to. Have a red wine with dessert. Give it a shot. People say that chocolate goes with red wine. I personally don't think it is a match, but let's give it a shot and try it.
Hannah?
Ladies first.
All right, I'm going to go blackberry because I think that's. Oh, we've taken away the heat and
Yeah.
it's re-solidified.
There you go.
That's no good.
They can't see that.
There you are.
I'm going to go raspberry.
The one thing you'll notice with our Shiraz is we pick it a little bit earlier on in the ripening period where we have higher acids, so it's quite punchy, crisp, and fresh. Like when you eat fresh fruit, you know,
Mhm.
at the back of your palate when you drink the wine, you get that real puckery, sort of lovely character to it. It's that cleanliness that I love about it. I don't want a big, lush, lac roll, mouth coating style of wine. I want one that's a little bit more generous in fruit, and then has a lovely finish that's clean.
Anna?
Yep.
Chocolate, wine?
It works
Does-
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But look, like I said
That's
earlier,
all right.
I'm really not that. Oh, watch out! We've got
Me
the
ma,
flames,
me
we've got the flames
ma,
coming in
me ma.
to reheat our very awesome fondue set.
All right, fondue it.
Excellent. So, going back to the 4 different varieties, no, the same variety, but from 4 different blocks, let's say.
Yep.
Who else does that?
Oh, there's
Lots of
many
people.
producers that
They
would
do?
actually have multiple sources.
Maybe very famous.
Yeah, Darrenberg will do it.
Yeah.
We're Fox Creek will have multiple suppliers. Penny's Hill, Mr. Riggs. Most of us, there's a few. Australia's not a place when I got here, most of us wineries made wine, growers grew grapes. It wasn't the stoic sort of European standard of estate grown, estate bottled. It's moved to that over the last 15, 20, 30 years. But yeah, to me, it's there are many multi-generational growers that we deal with, that we have dealt with, and we always will deal with them because they've got
They're brilliant.
great dirt and they know what they're doing. And
Yep.
The tricks of the trade to work with Mother Nature to produce the quality of fruit we want is that little tweak, that twist that we use within our brand.
So the punters can win a bottle of the chocolate
They can.
factory. They've got 50 seconds. Get your comments in there. To Jerry, can you put a comment in for me?
Questions, comments?
I really like. I must say, I really like it, and going with chocolate as well. I didn't think chocolate and wine actually mixed. I thought it was a bit of a myth or just a way of people selling their chocolate in McLaren Vale. More so than it actually went well with.
Yep.
But I must say, the fruit and chocolate and wine was
It's a nice way to finish off.
I mean, I always talk about our chocolate factory as a Black Forest cake.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's your cherries, it's your creamy palate,
Gateau.
and your mocha. So what better thing to put with Black Forest cake than a little bit more chocolate and a little bit more berries?
Yeah, a bit more berries.
Yep.
Okay, so before we wrap up,
Sure.
tell us something that's coming in the future for Zonte's.
We've already told you. The
Tell
cans.
us something else.
Oh, we've got lots of different stuff we're doing. The champagne. Well, not champagne. It's not champagne. You're not allowed to call it that.
Not legally.
Our sparkling white.
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
we
we missed that one.
Oh, we had a late
We had a
question
winner.
there. And a winner?
Ads! Of course.
Well done.
There you go.
He's
Has he
What's the
managed to
best
figure-
ever vintage of Chocolate Factory?
It got in just in time.
You know what? That's the one thing I'd have to say. There isn't one year that would be epically better than any other vintage. The thing that we have with this wine is that the volume that we produce it at, the consistency that we have. Every year I look at what we do, I think, oh, we're not going to be able to beat it. And the next year it comes out and it just keeps performing year in and year out. My personal preference is always the odd-numbered vintages that we have because it's more imbalanced than a late bloomer. If you drink it quick, drink the even years. So there you go.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, I must
But-
say,
Talk about
Oh
water
no.
fairies.
So yeah. So what's
'cause I'm
happening that's
excited
new
about that.
is we've actually got it.
Yes, we
already.
do.
We do have
Yep.
it. Is a
Bottled,
Tasmanian brut.
Yep. Method Traditionnel. 10 years on gross lees. It is
a champagne.
a champagne
Well,
no,
style.
no,
sorry,
it-
let
it's
me
a-
refrain. A brut.
A brut.
Method
Say bubbles.
Traditionnel.
Method
So
Traditionnel.
made like champagne,
Knock it
10 years old.
So we've
And
done-
when's
we've
this,
done
when's
some-
this available?
Water
on.
fairies.
It's available
It's
now.
available now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Available now.
I
But
can see a
we've-
home delivery heading toward my house.
we have some fun. I mean, one of the things I absolutely what's the best thing about working in the Vale? It's the lifestyle. Sorry, I'm going to go tangent on that. I'm going to answer that question, which was best thing about working in the Vale. Honestly, what's the best thing about living in the Vale?
Community.
We live in this amazing community. I mean, Nathan's daughter is the same age as mine. They go to the surf club, and you know, it's fantastic. It's the Vale, and just to clarify, McLaren Vale is actually to the coast and all the way into the hills. It's a wonderful community. I mean, I got stuck in France. I was actually over in Paris when the government announced that we all needed to get our backsides home, and I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, it was a wonderful trip, and you know, traveling around Europe's amazing. But you come home and what better place to live? I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's been amazing, and So Luke, in answer to that question, I just love McLaren Vale. I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world.
I'm going to go as far as to say that we happened to be driving through McLaren Vale this afternoon, and Jerry and I both driving down in the van, just driving through the main street, reminiscing about all the good times, all the great people that we've met in McLaren Vale, growing up there, going to school in Wollonga, and just spending a lot of our childhood in McLaren Vale. I played footy for McLaren Vale for a while as well, and just the friendships and the people, how warm the people are. And I guess what I found about McLaren Vale too is they're not competing against each other. The wineries, they're there to help, and they see other people's success as their success.
Yep.
Because I asked the question about the cube when the cube was built. What is that going to do for other wineries? And everybody I asked said straight away, it's going to bring more people to McLaren Vale.
Yep.
It's going to benefit everybody.
Absolutely.
They're going to come there, they're going to see the art, and then they're going to come here and taste wine.
Yep.
So it was, people weren't actually worrying about jealousy or anything like that. It's a community of people working together and nice people.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry,
Another question?
Next question is, when do we think the cellar door... Well, we're accessible, if I want to use that word. So if you want to come pick up some wine, just ring our main number, 0872863088. And Brad dropped in on the weekend because I made him.
Yep.
So no, you can actually come in and do takeaway, no problems. But unfortunately,
Obviously you can
we've just got to work through
buy online.
Oh, you can absolutely buy online. Yeah,
Yep.
no. So head online and buy some wine. Brad and I were having a little chat earlier, and we haven't told Alice yet, so she's going to freak out on us if she's watching this. But we did decide that if we'll try and put up something ASAP. So if you buy a bottle of the Sav, the Canto, and the Chocolate Factory as a little 3-pack, we'll might throw in a Magnum of Lake Doctor with it. So
2015
for
vintage.
those people that are watching,
Well, hang on. So all they have to do is buy what we've tasted
Excalibur,
tonight,
a Canto, and a Chocolate Factory is a
And-
3-pack,
and they're
Yep.
going to get a $50
and we'll
Magnum
throw in
for
a
nothing.
Magnum of Lake Doctor,
of Lake Doctor.
Yeah.
2015.
2015 vintage.
Right. How many of them are there?
Not very many, so
Right.
you know, we're assuming the
The
numbers.
host
are
would
enough.
get. The host would get one.
Of
They
course,
would.
of course.
Yeah, we had to say that
Yeah,
live, didn't
yeah.
I thought I picked up the tab for dinner.
you? Right. Wow.
Yeah, so in answer to that question, I'm really hoping soon. We've unfortunately had to cancel 2 months now of 3 months now of
Live
Wine
music.
Downs,
Yeah.
which is our live music and things that we do. So that's on the 2nd and 3rd Fridays of every month at the General. Great atmosphere, absolutely love it, and I'm really missing it. I don't think we'll see those for a while because they sort of get up to 100 or sort of 90 people, so that's probably pushing the number boundaries at the moment. But
Yes.
we'll,
For now, maybe July. They're saying.
well, maybe July.
Maybe July.
Cross our
Anyway,
fingers.
I've got to say, what an excellent first show. I think it had a lot to do with the guests. I didn't have to do a great deal at all. Thanks heaps for coming on.
We can
And
talk.
Thanks. Yeah, well, you can. Well, I'm trying to cut you off. That's right. And next week on SA Wine Weekly, we're going to have, and I think that you guys would agree, the Petrucci's.
Known them for
Fairly
years.
well
Love 'em.
known. Those Italians who know what they're doing in McLaren Vale.
They better have
Let's
an
go.
Italian variety in there. otherwise
We are going to bring on Michael.
Oh,
Great,
there
great
you go.
looking guy. You know, absolutely great looking guy. I think the women might flock to this show just to see Michael. But we're going to bring him on. Knows a lot about wine. Been in the vineyard since he was about 3.
Forever.
Yeah. So we're really looking forward to Sabella, and we'll put some advertising out there. 8 o'clock next Wednesday. Thanks heaps for coming on, guys.
Our pleasure.
And thanks for
having
tuning
us.
in, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching.